Alright, hey guys. I know it's been a little while. I have had, you guys are probably hearing me coughing a lot. I've had a bronchitis like, not cold, I don't know, illness, to say the least. But I do want to give an update with the market moving so fast here. I think it's a shame and a wasted opportunity if I'm not able to cover this in at least some way. I know a lot of people have been asking where I am. Again, I've had a bronchitis-like sickness, which makes talking very, very hard. But I do want to cover this because if not, I feel like it would be such a wasted opportunity and potential. So hopefully everything is clear and good. I'm going to make sure that this link gets out to everyone that it needs to be. And we're not going to be on here too long. Again, I am recovering. And getting this all sorted out. So sorry if my voice is a little bit quiet. Sorry if this isn't as long, or if I can't go at my normal pace. Again, I am still pretty ill, which is why I haven't been making videos and working as much with all this stuff. So, oh, that is the wrong area. So let's go ahead and get this set up. All right. So, hello everyone. Let me make sure this is working properly. All right, everyone. So let's go ahead and talk about this and we can go over this a couple times. I know I just posted the link and stuff, so people are probably just going to be coming in here now. But there is really one point that I was actually just talking to with the Patreons. If you guys, basically, long story short, basically what I said is that around above 6,400, I was going to start, around and above 6,400, I was going to start layering short orders. I layered over 20 orders, all of them hit. And so now with Bitcoin ripping, it's ripping up to pretty much its final resistance point. And for the sake of my voice, I'm going to keep this video very concise, very straight to the point. I'm going to cut all the BS, and I'm just going to tell it how it is. Because for the sake of my voice and your guys' time and my time and my health, I'm just going to keep this as simple and as straight, and there's no going to be, any crap, is basically what I'm trying to say. This is just going to be a very black and white thing of what I believe is the most probable things of Bitcoin right here. So in this zone, what we see is pretty much Bitcoin going parabolic. I mean, I think Four Flies did a video on this, and if you guys are bearish in this zone, you're not alone. The large majority of experienced analysts that I know have been extremely, I know one analyst who is extremely bullish here. One out of, and I know I'm very connected, I feel like I'm decently connected in the crypto community. I know one that is extremely bullish here. Very, very many experienced analysts that I look up to, YouTubers, non-YouTubers, people that you don't know on YouTube but make, quadruple anyone I know salary, like everyone. People from all backgrounds. I've talked to them a lot, whether that means that they're tethered, whether that means that they're shorting, whether that means that they're simply just holding. I only know one person that's actually longing in this area. And I don't say that to be discouraging, but if you look at this, and this is something that Four Flies brought up earlier, is that if you look at this on the weekly chart, it's just an absolutely parabolic market cycle for the time being. And so this is pretty much where we're going to get straight to the point. So with this previous resistance breaking at around, I think it was 5.9 to 6K, with that breaking, pretty much what this does is have one more set of extremely hard resistance left in Bitcoin. That resistance being right over here. It's a very flat line. We can go ahead and see this very, very clearly at around $6.8 thousand. You see rejection over here, rejection over here, rejection over here 3 times, coming back. I mean, you've seen this all the way. Like, if we extend this line, you can see just this area being just rejection and support, just time and time again. Rejection, rejection, or yeah, rejection, 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 breakthrough, comes back down, rejection, rejection, rejection. Comes back up from this massive parabolic run up that we've had recently. And what do we see? We see a wick up perfectly to this area and rejection once again. Now, I'm not saying that this thing's going to just dump back to $1,000 or anything. I think that's just extremely silly. But what we can say is that this is the last level of the most hardest level of resistance in the history of Bitcoin. I forget what the indicator is called. Basically, it shows the tiers and levels of resistance, and it shows that this is the hardest level, the hardest resistance level in the history of Bitcoin, and that this is the last tier of it. So, with that being said, if this guy is to break, Bitcoin is going to fly, and that's not an understatement. And I have been a very big bear for a long time. The last time I was bullish, really this whole bear thing started when I called this, massive drop down. Ever since then, I've been bearish, despite run-ups. If this level breaks, Bitcoin is going to be extremely bullish. And let me explain why. The hardest level in Bitcoin's history, I just kicked my table. The hardest level in Bitcoin's level of resistance in the history of Bitcoin, if this was tested like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 times over the course of 2018 down here, not obviously like this whole range really. If this all breaks and holds, what was tested at almost 8 times in this area, if that breaks on the first swing towards the upside, that is an extremely bullish case scenario. Extremely. The heaviest level of resistance in the history of Bitcoin breaking on one swing to the upside would be substantial, and people don't understand the level of strength that would mean that Bitcoin has. With that being said, we haven't broken this yet. We saw a wick up and we saw rejection. If this breaks, it's an extremely bullish case scenario. The next stop after this, I don't see it stopping anywhere until $7,400. That's not very heavy resistance. I mean, it's decently heavy resistance. If that breaks, Bitcoin's going right back up to probably $8,300. So what we're seeing here is just levels. And at this rate, if 7,800 breaks, I think we're going straight to 7,400. If 74 breaks, I think we're going straight up to probably 8,300. And I think it's going to be a very, very parabolic thing if it breaks. However, that's a very big if, and I want to make sure that that's clear. We are still in the heaviest area of resistance in the history of Bitcoin. And if this is going to hold, you would expect to see a massive pullback. I am layered into shorts all the way up. I told the Patreons earlier today. I'm on 10x leverage, and I'm probably going to keep layering in some more around or above 7,000 or 6,700. If 6.8 breaks, I will most likely be exiting my shorts. The reason for that being is that Bitcoin can go full parabolic. It can really go full parabolic extremely fast afterwards. However, again, hold on, let me read through chat here. Let me make a couple things clear before I even read through chat. This is a big if. This entire scenario is a giant big if of technicals. Statistically speaking, from a strictly technical analysis, statistical probability standpoint, we are in the very minute of situations. Nowhere in, if you were to tell me that this was going to happen, I would say that the probability for the situation that we're in right now, based upon technical analysis and statistics of risk analysis, it would be extremely small. This outcome in the current one that we're in, I think, is just such an insane one. Not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's a very it's something that you have to be very cautious about. This is a very, very, I don't know how else to explain it besides saying it's a minute situation. It is it was an extremely unlikely probability that is now becoming a realistic outcome. Again, it has not broken yet. However, if it breaks, the probability on something like this again, it's just so minute. But, we're very close to that. We are seeing one rejection candle right here. And if this does get rejected, targets are being very, very low. So if it gets rejected from here, Bitcoin, I believe, is falling immediately $1,000. The reason for that being is this is where your 5,500 level is. Now what this does is it shows two things. Your previous support on the way down, also shown as resistance on the way back up, and also support. So you can see that these three areas over here kind of signify that. So if this does come, I believe it's going right back to 5,500 in the least. So that's only if we see rejection here. Again, if we don't see rejection here, you're going right back up to this previous high. Past that, you're going right back up to this previous high, couple $1,000s towards the upside. If it comes back down, you're coming right back down into this guy's range, which is $1,000 towards the downside. And I believe that to be in the minimum. Probably something like this, and then bounce off this guy, maybe come back up to like 5,900, have a $400 move towards the upside, and then see another breakdown, probably towards the $5,000 level. Now, let's go ahead and leave that in there. So with this being said, I'm going to go ahead and look at chat and answer some questions, see what you guys have to say. Again, I'm going to keep this very short to the point because I'm still very sick with my, let's just call it bronchitis, because that's pretty much what it's like. But yeah, so let's go ahead and answer some questions and I'll explain this a little bit more. What's up? Hope you feel better. Thank you so much, man. Late night awesomeness. Armin said, am I still shorting? So Armin, I exited shorts way down in here. I was shorting, actually no, I was shorting around this area, exited my short, and then I started re-shorting up in here. I'll tell you what, I don't know how to show you this. This chart's so cluttered right now. So I was shorting around this area, got out of those shorts, and now I'm shorting this area. So yes, I am shorting currently. If this next region breaks, I'm out. There's no reason to be short anymore. But again, the whole probability of this just it's insane. If you look at this chart, it's just screaming short me. If we break and consolidate above 6,800, won't you be bullish? I will be. But we need to hold that level. It wouldn't mean anything really if we kind of just like come up here and we're like, oh hey, and then we just fall through the roof. We really need to kind of hold this and then start setting higher lows again and having consolidation like that. What we don't need is just like I don't know, if we could come up here and like break this pretty nicely, then see like a bull flag get painted out like this, and which should lead to a breakout like that. So ideally, if I saw something like that, like there's no reason to be bearish past this point. Really, there's really not. There wasn't a reason to be. Once 4,200 broke, there wasn't a reason to be bearish until above 5,500, and once 5,500 broke, there wasn't a reason to really be bearish until 5,900. Once 5,500 to $6,000 broke, there wasn't a reason to be bearish until around where we're at right now. And if this guy breaks, the same thing goes. There's no reason to be bearish until probably 7,400. We had a really hard time breaking the 6,150. Where is that? Yeah, exactly. So that's the whole thing, is that there's obviously loads of buying pressure in this area. That's why thank God I wasn't shorting there. Jeez. I pray for everyone that was shorting there. Not due to retail FOMO. It's the IEO for Bitfinex. The accumulation phase is missing in this bear market. There was an accumulation phase. Yeah, I mean, I accumulated a large portion of Bitcoin at 3,300, and that was the last time I bought it. 3 months, you believe all institutional money is already in? That's a joke. I don't. First, everyone told us 6K broke easily. That's the thing. Well, Armin, the way that it works is that there's layers of resistance. The fact that 6K broke so easily is scary for any kind of bear in this scenario. Thank God, again, I exited my shorts, at fairly decent prices. It broke easily. Since then, again, I haven't entered a short until today. I want to say, so, yeah. FOMO's kicking in. Hard to stop the hurt, it's true. And that's the thing, Armin, is that there's layers of resistance, and with these layers, you can see break. 6,500 was a layer. $6,000 was a layer. It wasn't almost really messed with at all. You saw 2 wicks up here and then a breakthrough on a daily chart. We can put it on the 4-hour if it looks better. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the trend. Yeah, I mean, again, I understand. A lot of people really like the trend here and how fast it's going up. I still think that this presents the risk versus reward of this is phenomenal. Again, from a technical analysis standpoint, but at the end of the day, if FOMO kicks in and the market just starts flying again, what are you gonna do? I mean, you go over here, and what are you saying? Obviously it's different this time around because over here there was no resistance above these points, so you're hitting this level and you're saying, oh, well, the sky's the limit because all over here there's absolutely nothing. This time around it's different because we do have stuff to the left. However, I understand what you're saying. When FOMO wants to happen and when Bitcoin wants to go parabolic, it will and it can. And even on the run up over here, you saw you did see very deep pullbacks. So in these situations where Bitcoin did go parabolic over here, you saw massive run ups. Again, massive. Look at some of these dips, almost nearly 100% retracements from where it took off. Just absolutely massive dips. And then of course it headed back upwards. And so what I'm trying to say over here is that I think that the worst of the bear market could very well be over. However, with this thing going so parabolic, I mean, just look at it on the daily or the weekly. I mean, come on. Really? You're going to tell me that you want to long this guy up here? I mean, sure, maybe it does keep ripping. But even in the bull market, there's better areas of value. So we just looked at the 2017, 2018 bull run in Bitcoin, or mainly 2017 December run of Bitcoin, how parabolic that was, and even that had pullback. So it's hard to tell me in this area that you don't believe Bitcoin's going to have any kind of pullback. I'm not betting on Bitcoin going to $1,000 or something like this. In this range, I'm really just betting on probably a couple $100 pullback, maybe to the 618, something along those lines. But I think, realistically, no one wants to be longing up here. I wouldn't even want to buy up here. I don't understand why you would. And I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. Fundamentals are more important than TA. I think it depends on what you're trying to do, I guess. I feel like it really depends. If it's for long term, fundamentals are everything. If it's for trading the short term, then I think technicals are almost everything. Where are the 2K incoming guys now? I don't know. I said bottom of Bitcoin was already in. I've said that for a long time. Hopefully Ethereum breaks 182. Very brave to short here. Yeah, maybe. If it breaks, if it breaks this resistance level, then I'm out. So, what altcoins are you trading? I'm not trading any altcoins. I hold a bunch. I hold a bunch of altcoins. I had a large order of Pundi. I'm holding Pundi, XRP, Cardano, EOS, Omise Go, BAT, a bunch of those guys. Excuse me, guys. My voice is... I'm really sick. Brazil's driving. Shorts got red. Looked like there's more liquidation to come. Starting to go on fire. Bitcoin's fine too. Yeah. I think Unknown said it right now. Bitcoin's defying all technical analysis at the moment. And it's pretty much getting driven by fundamentals. Now, there's times in Bitcoin where this happens, and there's times where it doesn't happen. That's the great thing about Bitcoin, is sometimes it does not give a care in the world about fundamentals. Other times, fundamentals rip the price like you're seeing right now. I think that's something that a lot of people like about Bitcoin, is that the fact that it's an investment. It's a more of a risky investment. You know, you either rip it one way or the other, and there's really no in between. You either make a lot or you lose a lot, and a lot of people really like that. And the way that this works is that, again, with this time around, fundamentals driving the price instead of technicals, you know, it's a great thing. You know, if you hold any kind of cryptocurrency, you're really not complaining here. And for a while, you were having the altcoins bleeding in the Bitcoin and pumping the price from the altcoins. Geez, 6,000% profit. The reason the parabolic runs correct so drastically is because the market needs healthy pullbacks to get new money in. Likewise, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pull. I think that's very, very well said, Hassam. Again, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but I truly do mean this in the nicest way possible. And maybe I wake up in the morning and Bitcoin is just $8,000 and everyone's shoving it in my face. Statistically speaking, that would be like, I mean, even in here, it's just such an unlikely outcome that we're even here in the first place. But like saying that like we just break and just keep just ripping from here, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It kind of like blows my mind, saying just how small. And okay, so let me just get to the point. When Hassam says he's not touching this area in a 10-foot pole, I couldn't agree with him more. Buying or longing Bitcoin in this area, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, is the stupidest, most risky idea that you could ever have. And I'm not saying if you're buying at this area, I'm not saying it can't go higher or anything else. I am one of the most bullish people on the long-term, trend of cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency is going to blow past its previous highs over here. I do, in the long term. However, from a technical analysis standpoint, from someone who deals with risk, and again, I trade a lot. I trade indexes, I trade commodities, I trade forex, I trade cryptocurrencies, I trade futures contracts, I leverage, I swing trade. I do a lot of trading from someone who knows, who's been doing this stuff successfully, for someone whose job it is to do this stuff. This area is and I can't tell you what to trade, but trading and longing and buying this area is the riskiest area possible. You are taking the highest level of risk entering any kind of long or buy in this area. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. This is not financial advice, but I would never buy this area. Why? Because it is the highest level of risk. You're buying at an extremely heavy level of resistance. Not to say that it can't break, but why would you ever buy at resistance? Eventually, this is going to pull back. Eventually, it will. Maybe that's at 7.4K first, then it pulls back. Maybe that's at 8K, then it pulls back. But eventually, eventually this is going to pull back, in my opinion. So why would I not? And that's the whole thing, is buy the dip, sell the rip. It's a very, very popular saying, very simple. You buy the dips, right? You just keep accumulating more. Dip, dip, higher low, buy the dip, buy the dip. Consistent higher lows, just keep, buying the dips in here. It works in situations like this. Now, obviously, it doesn't work when we're starting off a bear market, because that's where you're selling the rip. You're selling the rip up here. Over here, this is what I believe to be one of those situations where you're buying the dip, and I think we're selling the rip, or I'm selling the rip. And then when it comes back down here, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm extremely bullish on all of cryptocurrency. I will buy the dip wherever it is. So, because at this point, there's no reason not, in my opinion, there's no reason not to. If Bitcoin comes back down over here, I'll be long in it. Absolutely. I think BTC going to go for another round of pump. Yeah, Don, congrats on the profits. Let me, what do we got over here? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, come on, really? And I mean this in kind of a sarcastic way when I say this. If you guys know how to read indicators and oscillators right now, you would know that what I'm looking at is incredible. And I'll explain it in a sec. Excuse me, I gotta catch my voice back. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's literally just like black and white. This could be drawn a little bit better. This could be drawn like a little bit better. Probably something more like that. But so let me explain this before we go anywhere else. Is XRP dead? I don't think so. So much bearish divergence, it's crazy. Yeah. We'll get into that in a sec. Hassam, 200 EMA on what time scale? Yeah, and so Howard, something that we were talking, I think you're in the Discord, Howard. Something that we were talking about in the Discord is that we were kind of joking about how the indicators and oscillators, basically how divergence was meaningless recently. I heard something. Basically how divergence was meaningless recently. And how I haven't been trading off of it for recently up until now. Because here, this is one of my favorite things. With divergence lining up on the daily, the 4-hour, the RSI, the MACD, candle charts, level of horizontal resistance. Sorry, I thought that was a red candle for a sec. And what else? Oh, and also volume. That was the last one. We zoom in over here, and you guys look towards the bottom of the chart. Look at this guy. You can draw it more so like this. Volume is currently falling off. So what you're seeing is that there's lower levels of buying pressure on each of these candles. The candles are bigger, but there are lower levels of buying pressure. That should be a red flag. If you're asking yourself, why is the price going higher when there are lower levels of volume, especially lower levels of bullish volume, it should be a red flag. Again, not to say that Bitcoin can't break this area, but there's a lot of people who, and it's horrible because people are longing up here. You go onto BitMEX, people are longing here, and maybe it plays out. I don't think it will. So this is one I'm very, I know I talk to people, they don't want to short here. I completely understand. I'm not making fun of you if you don't want to short here. I completely understand. I tried shorting once, didn't work out. Trying to short again, and I understand if you don't want to. However, this to me is a worthwhile short that could pay out huge. Maybe it doesn't, but the NVT, yeah, I think. Here, let's take a look. Is this the correct indicator? I hope so. Yeah, and so that's the thing is I'm not making fun. I'm not saying anyone who doesn't want to short here is silly. I'm not saying that. I do think long here is extremely silly. I'm not going to make fun of you for it. It's your decision. I just, it's something I would never long here. However, I totally understand the people who don't want to short here. It makes sense. But personally, I'm going to, I'll take the risk, and I also take the reward, and I also take the loss if it happens. Randy said, where are your stop losses, Brendan, if you don't mind me asking? Brendan, sorry. Would you long on a breakout? Not financial advice, just an opinion. I don't know. I've thought about that recently. Unknown says I will add to my long at the dips. I agree. I will dip by this a lot. I was kind of joking about that in the Patreon. I'll get back to your question in a second, Randy. I was kind of joking about that in the Patreon, saying I'm ready for it to be easy again, where all you have to do is just keep adding more and more longs every dip. And that's kind of, what's been happening here. So yeah, Randy, my stop loss is at right above 6,800, right above this blue line. If you just look at this area, you can see all the times it's been rejected, and it's coming. I can barely talk. It's coming back over here and seeing the same rejection again. So it came up to resistance, saw a rejection candle, and it's coming back. What looks to be coming back down, may possibly toppy. There's divergence on the MACD. Well, almost not confirmed on the 4-hour MACD. Not completely confirmed. What would ideally be bearish divergence on the 4-hour RSI, bearish divergence on the 4-hour or on the 1-day RSI right over here. If you delete this line, you can see it very well. Potential bearish divergence on the MACD, triple bearish divergence here, triple bearish divergence here. I don't know what it was on the volume. On the volume, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower swing highs on volume. Like quintuple bearish divergence on your volume. You are seeing a rejection candle from extremely hard resistance in the past over here. I mean, I just think that there's bearish version everywhere. So that's the reason why I'm short. And a lot of people think it's stupid, but it's whatever at the end of the day. I see this bull run going to 68.50. Honestly, I think if it gets to 68.50, it's going straight to 7,400. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see why it wouldn't. Psychological resistance. It's going to be at $7,000. And it's not going to be strong. Yeah, we'll see. I just think that there's bearish divergence everywhere. What I've actually thought about doing is lowering my leverage. So maybe something like cutting my leverage down and then just leaving the short there. Like worry free. So we'll see. We will see. Oh, the daily chart. All right. A final retest of the 200 EMA. I think it's gonna take. I'm gonna be honest with you, Assam. I think it's gonna take a long time for Bitcoin to get back to the 200 EMA, like months. I don't, maybe later in the summer we could see a retest of the 200, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. The only way that I see us retesting the 200 EMA is if Bitcoin breaks down just as parabolically, if not more, than when it broke up. But usually speaking, Bitcoin, goes up pretty fast. It drops fast as well, but it usually drops fast, but in layers. So there's kind of a pull. Howard Lee. Expecting something opposite. It's interesting. I've been looking at polls recently as well. A lot of people are really indecisive about where they think Bitcoin's going to go. You have a lot of people who think it's just going to rip, and a lot of people who don't. So I've pretty much just been trading traditionals lately. Again, I wasn't really trading too much in the zone. I was trading a lot of traditionals, futures, S&P 500, NASDAQ, a lot of crude oil, stuff like that. Now that Bitcoin's at, an area where I believe I can take a position on it, I will. If it doesn't work out, so be it. I'm holding Bitcoin for the long term regardless. Because I think $7,000, yeah, I guess you could justify buying here, or I could justify buying here to say, well, I'm going to be holding for 10 years anyway. $7,000 is nothing compared to what it's going to be, right? That's what I believe. So I could justify buying here, saying, 10 years in the future, that could be a tenth of the price of what it is. It could be 70,000. So that's really my 2 cents about Bitcoin. If you guys are just now tuning in, I recommend re-watching the live stream of what I've already talked about. It's pretty short, sweet and short and to the point. I need to get off. I've already probably talked longer than I need to. I have like a bronchitis thing going, which is why there hasn't been videos out. I don't know. I don't even know what the. I'm sorry. I messed up the title too. I didn't change the title or the thumbnail or anything. I just wanted to make sure I got an update out. So let me go and change that. And there we go. What's up, McLovin? But yeah, so basically I just want to get this update out. If you guys have any questions or want to talk about anything, I will be in Discord. And yeah, I just want to make sure. So yeah, anyway, I'm glad I was able to at least talk about some of this. I'm going to go rest my throat, get some rest. I'll be hanging out in Discord if you guys have any questions. Hopefully the information you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys hopefully pretty soon. With the way that my voice is right now, it's probably not going to be I probably won't be able to get normal videos up for a while. Not for a while, but probably not tomorrow at least. You know, tonight is pushing it. I shouldn't probably be doing this, but it's been too long since an update, and this is a wasted opportunity if I can't talk about such a crucial time in the market. So hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will, hopefully be able to see you guys on a regular schedule again soon. So